Are you ready for Amanita or just curious? And stay with me to the end because this isn't just about Amanita, it's about the difference between chasing an experience and building a relationship. Hey Seekers, if you're new here, I'm Marlucia and I teach the science behind Amanita, specifically Muscaria, Regalis, and Pantherina, the three varieties I work with and deeply trust. Quick disclaimer, this video is for educational purposes only. I'm not here to treat, diagnose, or prescribe anything. And due to YouTube guidelines and FDA regulations, nothing shared here should be taken as medical advice. The goal is to simplify this path so you feel informed enough to work with Amanita on your own, not rely on someone else to tell you what to feel or how to heal. Let's get into it. Hey Seekers, I want to start by saying something that may or may not surprise you. I completely understand the curiosity around Amanita Muscaria because I was curious too. Let's be honest, it is a psychoactive. You can absolutely experience noticeable effects, and if that's your goal, you'll probably attain them. They just may not be the effects you expected or even the ones you end up wanting. And there's no judgment from me because that was part of my journey. When I first encountered Amanita, it actually came through my spouse using it for sleep. He professed it was great for more than sleep and I should try it out. I remember observing it and thinking, this feels a bit like alcohol. But alcohol is easier to work with and more familiar and honestly readily available. I didn't feel drawn to drinking a muscaria tea that I had to prepare for 3 hours, especially because I needed quite a bit to reach the effects I was curious about. And at that point, we hadn't even been introduced to Regalis yet, so it wasn't something I felt compelled to return to. I could see some of the benefits in my spouse, especially around sleep, but it wasn't yet my path. What I did notice, though, was how loud and toxic alcohol felt in my environment over time. Not in a dramatic way, but in a slow, undeniable way. Eventually, that contrast became louder than everything else, and I found myself choosing to revisit Amanita. But this time with a different approach, and this time with Regalis. That shift changed everything. I had a genuinely great time with Regalis. I enjoyed the experience, even the way it smelled. I enjoyed the softness it brought, and I began to understand it in a way I hadn't before. From there, I eventually explored Pantherina, and that's where things became very real for me. Because Pantherina wasn't gentle in the way I expected it. It was intense. It carried an energy I couldn't easily integrate or control. And in that intensity, I was faced with something uncomfortable, but honest. I wasn't as disciplined or as mature in my relationship with myself as I thought I was. And I want to be very clear here. This is my story, my reflection, and my lessons. I'm not suggesting that if Pantherina doesn't resonate with you that you're immature or that you're doing anything wrong. And I'm not suggesting anything about anyone else at all. I'm simply sharing how, for me, certain experiences stripped away the story I had built around what I thought this tool was for. Because that's the deeper lesson I keep coming back to. Sometimes we approach something with a very specific frame. What it is, what it should feel like, what it's for. And life gently, or not so gently, shows us there is so much more available when we let go of that frame entirely. When I stopped trying to force Amanita into a category, whether as a substitute, a tool, or an experience to manage, I started to actually listen to what it was showing me. And what it showed me was not just about effects, it was about the relationship with myself. Once I approached it with intention instead of expectation, everything softened. A dose stopped being about curiosity on what effects I would get and became more like, let's get balanced and get back to presence. It turned into a daily practice of slowing down, listening, and reconnecting with myself in a way that felt honest rather than performative. And from that place of quiet, something very simple but very profound started to happen. I became more responsive instead of reactive, more present, more aware of my boundaries, and more willing to take responsibility for my internal state instead of constantly trying to shift it externally. People sometimes imagine transformation as something external taking over, like a substance or a mushroom doing something to you. But that wasn't my experience. For me, it was much more grounded. It was nervous system regulation. It was safety returning to the body. And when the body feels safe, everything changes. You begin to see clearly, to choose differently, and you begin to meet life instead of escaping it. So yes, if you're curious like I was, you'll probably explore. You may experience euphoria, deep relaxation, an altered perception, disassociation, or incredible sleep. All of that can be part of it. But my hope is that you don't stop at the surface of those experiences. Because for me, the real shift wasn't the effects. It was what happened when I stopped trying to define the experience before I even had it. Looking back, I don't think I was ever truly chasing intoxication. I think I was chasing relief. I think I was chasing presence. I think I was chasing the feeling of finally being myself without all the noise. And ironically, that's what I eventually found. Not in the intensity, but in the quiet. That kind of presence changes everything. It makes exercise feel more connected, conversations feel more real, creative work flows differently, even ordinary life starts to feel more meaningful. And I also want to be very clear. This is my journey, not a protocol. I'm not telling you how to use anything, and I'm certainly not telling you what your relationship with any of this should look like. That's yours to discover. Nature offers many teachers. Some people connect with cacao, some with meditation, some with fasting, some with herbs, some with Amanita. None of these paths are inherently superior. The question is never which is best. The question is always, what am I ready to understand about myself right now? For me, Amanita became a mirror. It showed me that I didn't need something outside of me to hold me together. I needed to learn how to hold myself. And that to me is what sovereignty really means. Not dependence on a tool, but remembering that the capacity for transformation has always been within you. Don't forget, I love you forever. Remember, this isn't about chasing effects or copying someone else's protocol. It's about tuning into your own rhythm, trusting your body, and staying consistent enough to let the shifts unfold. If this helped you understand Amanita a little deeper, hit like, subscribe, or drop a comment below. I love hearing how this work is landing for you. And if you're ready to go further, check the description for links to more education, trusted sources, and next steps for your journey. Stay curious, stay grounded, and always think beyond. With love.